Everyone is you pushed out and your SP, part 2. We spoke last week about some ways in which the concept, the principle of everyone is you pushed out manifests when it comes to your SP, your specific person. And today I thought I would do part 2 of that same conversation because there are additional things that we need to talk about. That is to say, there are additional ways in which everyone is you pushed out, the concept of everyone is you pushed out manifests when it comes to your SP that are not talked about enough and that I think are very, very important for people to know. So this is what I'll be discussing in today's video. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I am a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything without the fluff. So if you guys like this content and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like it, share it, and stick around. Also, if you need help with your specific situation, I offer one-on-one coaching as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. I also have some self-study courses about manifesting your specific person. And I do have a members-only channel with a lot of perks for members, including weekly live workshops with a different manifesting topic each week, weekly live group coaching, a lot of exclusive content, monthly challenges for a chance to win a free one-on-one coaching session with me, and a lot more. So if you're interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website or to the membership channel. With all that being said, let's dive into today's video. So for those of you who watched last week's video, and I'm going to link it in the description for those of you who might have missed it, we talked about some very, very important aspects of everyone is you pushed out from the point of view of how that principle, how that concept manifests when it comes to your SP, your specific person. And these are some aspects that are not customarily being talked about so much in the manifesting community. These are aspects and points of view that I don't see many coaches bringing up, and yet they are so important for people to know and understand. And because this concept, as you can imagine, is very broad, it's quite unlimited actually, I thought that it would be a good idea to do a part 2 today where I discuss additional aspects of that concept, specifically in how the principle of everyone is you pushed out manifests when it comes to your SP. And once again, these are aspects of this concept and this principle that are not very much talked about, if at all. So what I specifically wanted to discuss in today's video is why you may be so attracted, or why you may be feeling such a strong connection to your SP. As you know, I coach a lot of people. And most of these people, the vast majority, I dare say, of these people, will always tell me something along the lines of, I want my SP because we have such a special connection. I want my SP because I've never felt such a strong connection with anyone else like the one I'm feeling with them. Or things like, this connection is magical. I don't know, I can't put my finger on it, but there is something about it that really attracts me. You guys, I hear that all the time. The reason why most people want that specific person over other people is because in some way or other, they feel that they share a very special connection with that person. Now, with that being said, and with that out of the way, I wanted to go a little deeper into that assumption of that special connection and what it can mean in terms of the principle of everyone is you pushed out, and in terms of your SP at the end of the day being you pushed out. In other words, a part of your own consciousness being pushed out. What I see very often, you guys, in people manifesting their SP when they feel that there is this very special, very strong connection with the other person, is that in some way or other, the reason why they are feeling such an intense attraction towards the other person is because they are seeing a part of themselves in that other person. And let me explain it, let me simplify it, let me analyze it a little bit. Obviously, everyone is going to be a little different. Every case is going to be a little different than the next case. So what I see in a lot of people is that the reason they are intensely attracted to a specific person is because that specific person happens to have traits that they would absolutely love to have themselves, and that more often than not, they feel that they are lacking in themselves. And of course, that can be anything. There can be a million different examples. It can be that the person is very introverted and their SP is very extroverted, very outgoing, and they really, really admire that. They really wish that they were that themselves. It can be that the SP is perceived as someone who is very popular with other people, very successful perhaps in their professional field, or someone who is very, very attractive, and upon further digging, it comes out that this is a trait, or it can be a combination of traits in some cases, that the person, the manifestor, feels that they are lacking in themselves. Another example I happen to see very, very often, especially in dynamics where the manifestor is an anxiously attached person and their SP happens to be an avoidant, quote unquote, is where the SP tends to be perhaps very independent. Perhaps someone who can detach very easily, someone who doesn't get very easily emotionally attached, or even perhaps someone who likes to take things slowly before they emotionally attach to someone. Whereas the counterpart, the anxiously attached person, tends to want to go all in, tends to want things to progress very, very fast, tends to want continuous reassurance and all these kinds of things. Now, of course, as I said, there are millions of examples. These are just a few that I have encountered in my coaching practice that tend to be relatively common among people. There are many, many, many others, and each one of you is going to know what applies to you specifically and to your SP specifically. Of course, there is also another category that tends to be rather overly represented in the manifesting community, and that is the category of people who, for whatever reason, might have unhealed trauma within themselves. And by trauma, let me say here that they don't necessarily mean something major or something life-altering. It can be little things that have accumulated over time and in some way or other have hurt you, have hurt your self-esteem, have hurt your self-concept, your self-confidence, and so on. And so if you are in that category, it's possible that your ego may be attaching to that specific person in an attempt to heal those unhealed parts of you through that SP, through that specific person. And once again, I mentioned before the anxious avoidant dynamic. This tends to apply a lot here, not only from the anxious person's perspective, but also a lot of the time from the avoidant person's perspective. Or it can be other things like rejection, abandonment, emotional neglect, or simply feeling not seen, not heard during your childhood, during your younger years. And so then what happens is that you are subconsciously becoming attracted to an SP that in some way or other reflects that or confirms that self-concept that you consciously or subconsciously have for yourself. Now, I want to make it very, very clear here that I'm not saying any of this with an intent to judge or to shame anyone or to criticize or anything like that. If anything, I always tell people, and you might have heard me say it in my videos as well, that we're all carrying some sort of baggage. We're all working on issues. We're all working on things that we can improve in ourselves. So I don't want anyone to feel ashamed or embarrassed or judged or criticized or anything like that. This video, the purpose of this video is just to shed some light, if you will, on some more hidden parts of the principle of everyone is you pushed out, perhaps some parts that, as I said, are not talked about very much, for the purpose of helping you step into better and higher and improved versions of yourself that in many, many cases actually end up manifesting your SP as a bonus. So knowing where you're coming from can be a very, very important step towards aligning your states and your energy with who you want to be, and subsequently aligning your energy with having your SP. But this time from a healthier perspective, from a perspective of a more solid self-concept, from a perspective of a stronger sense of self, and so on. So the thing I want you guys to remember, and the things that I want you to take away from this video, is that it's very, very possible if you're feeling an intense attraction towards your SP, especially if that attraction you can't really explain, you can't really put words around it, if it feels a little magical, a little unexplained, a little, I don't know why I feel this intense attraction, but I do, chances are because you are seeing parts of yourself in that SP. whether these are unhealed, still wounded parts of yourself, whether these are parts of yourself that feel they are lacking certain traits that you see in your SP that you would like to acquire for yourself. The key here at the end of the day is that it all comes back to self. Always and always, again and again, always and forever. It is never about your SP, it is always, without exceptions, about you. So if you are recognizing or potentially recognizing yourself in some of these categories that I described, you now know what to do. You know to go back to yourself and start developing those desirable traits in yourself that you are seeing in your SP that you are feeling like you're lacking. If you feel that your SP might be reflecting certain unhealed wounds within you, or confirming certain unhealed wounds or patterns within you, perhaps even patterns that you might have had your whole life, then it's time to start working on breaking those patterns for good. And that is going to result in manifesting that SP from a much healthier perspective, a much more balanced perspective, and a perspective where they're no longer pedestalized perhaps, but you are instead feeling equal and more than good enough for them. So my hope about this video is that it becomes a good first step towards you looking further and deeper within yourself, and towards you taking steps to start becoming better and higher versions of yourself always, all the time. Not in order to get your SP, but in order to bring yourself into a more balanced state, which ironically, or perhaps not so ironically, because that's how the universe works, will very, very likely in the process manifest your SP as well. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.